Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today's video is about something I've always wanted to do, but then for some reason I've just never got into it. But I got reminded of it recently when I watched the new season of Next in Fashion. So in one of the challenges they were supposed to make swimwear. Most of the teams ended up making leotards for their models, and then that's when it occurred to me, wait, you've always wanted to do this, why have you never done it? And then I decided that I was going to try it for the first time and definitely bring you guys along. So what I'm going to be showing you is how to make the leotard foundation. Of course, from the foundation you can adapt it into different styles, but what I'll be showing you is how to create the foundation. And while creating it, I used the miniature size block, so a half scale block, to do it just for the sake of filming. But I also ended up making mine and I sampled it. So you're going to see the toile at the end of the video just so you can see how it turned out and how the fit was. So let's get into the video. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, this is a perfect time for you to do that. So let's start the draft. First thing I would say is the front and the back of this foundation are created together. So one draft creates both front and back, and we're going to draft this using the back bodice. So this is my back bodice now, and that's what I'm going to use. What I'm doing here is I'm measuring 1 cm from the center back inwards. So it's 1 cm from the neck and then from the waist. Now I'm going to place those markings on that margin, the borderline or the margin that I drew there. You place those marks on it. So basically it's like we've taken out 1 cm from the bodice. You're reducing the bodice by 1 cm. So then you trace all the way from the neck to the armhole and you stop at that underarm point. You stop there and then you mark the center back waist and you can take off your bodice. Now what you need to do is to measure half an inch upwards from the waist mark. That point you marked on the waist, you go up by half an inch, and that's your new waistline for this foundation. Now I'm just labeling. I have A on the neck, B on the armhole, and C on the waist. Just to clarify, half an inch is also 1.3 cm, so whichever one you choose to use, you can. What I'm doing here is to square out from that center back waist point towards the side seam. That's my new waistline, and then I'll measure my waist measurement divided by 4 minus 2.5 cm or 1 inch. So it is the waist divided by 4 minus 2.5 cm, and then you connect it to the underarm point using a curve as I have done there. Now you label that point D. Our next point is C to E. C to E is the crotch length. This is the measurement from your center front waist through your crotch to your center back waist. That's the crotch length. So you're going to have that measurement, then you divide by 2 and subtract 2 cm. Next we have C to F. That is the measurement of C to E divided by 2 minus 2.5 cm, and then you mark F. Now whatever you have, you're supposed to measure from C, not from E. Just take note of that. So I've gotten F and I'm supposed to get F to G. You just square out from F. You square out a horizontal line from F, and then that's where our hip line would fall. So we would get our hip measurement divided by 4 minus 2.5 cm, and then you measure from F and you mark that G. So that's what I've done now. Then you square up from G to line D. Just square up a vertical line from G upwards, and then this is where we now need to draw out the hip curve that comes from D. So just see how mine is placed. I'm trying to get the perfect curve for that. I'm going to connect D into that line G just to give me the perfect hip curve for this leotard. Now if this pattern looks funny, it's because I'm using a miniature block. On my actual size it looked way better than this. Anyway, let's continue. I've gotten my perfect hip now, and we'll move to E to H. Now E to H is simple. You just square out from E with a horizontal line, and the measurement of that line should be 4.5 cm. Now after this we'll do H to I. H to I is 1 cm to the left of H. So just measure 1 cm inwards, that's to the left of where H is. You mark that I and you square up to line F, just as I have done. Once you've gotten that line, you need to use your protractor to get the angle 45 degrees at the intersection of that angle. Then you draw a line from there, and the length of that angle should be 3.5 cm. After this, you measure 5 cm from I upwards. So that's 5 cm I just marked from I upwards. Measure 5 cm from I upwards. Then you get that. Now I forgot to do the neck. So the front neck, remember I said that we're doing the front and the back bodies together. So to draw out the front neck, you measure 4 cm downwards from point A, and then you draw in your front neck curve. That's just it. So it's 4 cm downwards from point A, which is where the back neck is, and then you draw in your neck curve. Then next you do 1 cm from G inwards, and then you find the midpoint of F and G. So 1 cm from G inwards, and then you also find the midpoint of F and G. Then you measure 1.3 cm from that midpoint. So you go up by 1.3 cm from that midpoint. So you mark that, and then it will be time for us to draw our leg opening. So you connect that 1 cm that we marked from G to the 1/2 inch using an armhole curve. You know, I'm using an armhole curve because it's very curvy. Then you connect that 1/2 inch to the angle. So now your line, your curve sometimes may not touch the end of that line. It may be before it. So you see, like mine did not get to the 3.5 cm. So you just draw your curve to look nice, you know, and then make sure it stops at that 5 cm point that we marked, and you take it down to H. So in case you did not understand all of my English, just look at what I have done here. But make sure you connect all these points. You must connect the 1 cm from G to the midpoint of F and G, the 1/2 inch at that midpoint, then to the angle, then to the 5 cm you measured from I, and then to H. That's what you're supposed to do there. So now I'm just trying to reconnect my G to that curve that I drew, and I've basically done my front pattern. This is the front leg opening that we have here. So next I'll measure 1 cm upwards from I. You just mark that, and then you connect that 1 cm from G to the 1 cm above I with a line like I've done here. So you just connect with a horizontal line and then find the midpoint of that line. When you find the midpoint, you measure 2.5 cm outside of the midpoint. So just 2.5 cm outside of there, and you label that point K. You label that point K. Then I'll use my curved ruler to just connect the lines, the points, and then get my back leg opening. So all of what I'm doing here is just to get my back leg opening. So I've drawn the curves now, and I'm just going to finish them up. So I'm making sure that I'm connecting that back to G. Just follow how I'm placing my curves and what I'm doing. I think it's better understood when you just watch. So I'm even using a different color of my marker just so you can see the difference. This is for the back leg opening, and I'm going down to H to do the same thing. I'm just finishing up, making sure that that curve ends at H. Yeah, so that's done, and this is my back leg opening. So I'm basically done with my pattern. What I'm going to do next from here is to trace. This is the back. You can see that's the back, and then the front is this one here. Exactly, that's the front. So I'm going to then trace these out to separate the front from the back, and that's what I'm doing next. I'm going to get another paper to place under, and I think I'm first going to trace my front pattern, then I will trace the back pattern. So these are my patterns now separated. We have the back on the left and then the front on the right. Now this is how to create the Leotard foundation, or you can also call it a block. There's no design happening here, it is just the foundation. This is just the measurements. You can adapt this to any design, and this is mine now that I have drafted in my own size. So I made some modifications to mine. First off, I did a high cut on the for the leg opening because it's more in vogue and people like it because it's seemingly sexier in quotes. And then I also did a deep scoop neck at the back. This is the back pattern actually. So I did the high cut for the leg opening and then the scoop neckline. Then in front, this is actually what the block looks like. You can see the modification I did there. So that was a mistake. That was actually a mistake. And then this was the original position of the leg opening, but then I raised it up to this point, which was midway between the waist and the hip line. So I think for next time I might bring it lower by 5 cm because it was a bit too high for me. But then you can choose whichever one to do, keep it on the original level or raise it up to the high cut that's midway between waist and hip, or you do mine and you still drop it low by 5 cm. So this is basically what I created for mine, and I'm going to move to fabric now to show you what it actually looks like on fabric. So this is me here cutting. Of course, I'm using a fabric that has stretch because you can't make a leotard that has no zip or anything without stretch. In fact, it's supposed to be stretchy fabric to help bind you. It's like a shaper. So what you need to take note of is the fabric must stretch on the horizontal grain of your pattern. So where the waist happens, that horizontal line of the waist, that's where the most stretch of the fabric should be. I don't know if that makes sense. So this is me now on my sewing machine, just sewing it up, and in a bit you would see the finished look. So here's what I created. This is my leotard. You see the deep back neck, and it already looks good, but let's see what it looks like on me. Let's see the fit on me. Drum roll. So this is what it looks like. It was a perfect fit. Although I experienced some gaping at the leg opening, I had to take it in by about half an inch, but then that's why I made the toile to test the fit of the outfit. But this is what my leotard or bodysuit looks like, and with this you can create and modify it to however you want it to look. So I really hope you learned something from this and you're able to understand the process. And more than anything, I look forward to hearing from you in the comments to see if you're going to try this or to even get feedback of when you try it. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel because there's a lot more coming to you on The Fashion Architect. See you in the next video. Bye.